Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Entrepreneurs Forum. I'm your host, Lenora Edwards, and today we have the lovely Lisa Kirkwood, who is an expert in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and she is also the owner of the True Stories Merchant. So welcome, Lisa. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So before we even jump in, let's talk a little bit about diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is it, and how did you become the expert in this field, doing all that you do?
Okay. As far as the definition, what it is, I think that's pretty simple, even though it mystifies still a lot of people. What is diverse? Diverse mean not of the same kind. And yet, a lot of people are puzzled by this because the word itself, diversity, sounds so sophisticated and pompous. And when they hear that, in some places it's required as part of the work curriculum or the educational curriculum, they freak out and they say, no, we don't want nothing to do with diversity. Let's go back to the good old ways. So as far as the, what was the second part of the question?
How you became a expert in the area.
Okay, I grew up with diversity.
You grew up with it.
I would say starting in my early teens after the revolution that toppled communism in Romania, and the Eastern European regions were opening up to the rest of the world, where we were importing en masse foreign culture. So anything that was foreign and was basically forbidden before, we were gulping it up. And I remember, as far as American culture, we could not get enough of the music of the 90s. And we were learning English word by word in Romania. Michael Jackson became, famous over there, and he was one of the first big names who actually came to Romania twice in a concert. We were learning, for example, I learned the word "the best" in English from Tina Turner because of her song, her hit song. So yeah, from an early age, as soon as we had a chance to embrace the world after communism fell, that's exactly what we did, and I've been on the diversity path ever since.
Wow, that is an amazing backstory. I had no idea. That
Yeah.
is truly phenomenal to learn English through music. Wow. That is very, very extraordinary. So now you created a program, is my understanding, higher dimensions of diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's correct, right?
Yes, that's the title of the program.
Wow. So what does that offer people? What is that all about?
So this program is for businesses as well as educational institutions, and for good measure, you can throw in some nonprofit organizations because it addresses diversity from multiple perspectives. As a former and current employee in corporate America, I'm amazed at the fact that the diversity program, the training curriculum, when it exists, when and if, because a lot of companies don't offer it. When and if it exists, it only offers a superficial view of what diversity is. And for that, you can't really put the blame on anyone because, again, diversity can be a mystifying notion for a lot of people. But once you deconstruct it and demystify it, it's quite simple. However, if you take a traditional training in corporate America, it tends to just stop after a few notions such as gender, maybe women in leadership, definitely something about race because we have so many social divides and issues. Something about abilities, because they had lawsuits. And maybe ages and generations, ageism at work, the fact that the baby boomers are retiring and the new generations are taking their place. So this is about it as far as diversity training. Now, I noticed that there is a need for something deeper, higher, and wider. This is why I created this program, because I was like, okay, so beside these primary notions of diversity, what about the secondary ones? What about cultural differences? Because America is such a big melting pot, and we have people from all over the world. Anybody, any country in the world is represented in America in one measure or another, and we have some large communities from different from certain countries. So How do you address cultural differences? How do you build a bridge of communications? And with that, how do you overcome language barriers? Because again, not everybody is proficient in English. I majored in English in Romania in college, so to me it was no challenge at all integrating into the American culture 20 years ago. But not everybody has the same level of comfort. And when you talk about foreign cultures, what best way to explore it or at least break ground than to try the food? I think that is such a big connector, probably the biggest connector to bring people together from all over the world. Try the food and then tell me more about your culture. So you have the
That's a really good
culture,
point.
you have the language. What about religion? Because religion is very important and highly divisive. And if anybody would say, oh, I'm not touching that topic with a 10-foot pole, I am not going to blame them because it is so divisive. However, I decided to take this topic head on because I come from an international background. I've been exposed to a number of religions, and with that to the cultures that embrace those religions and the people who practice those religions. And I found more commonalities than differences. And this is what I want to bring to the table. And last but not least, what about smaller dimensions of diversity and inclusion? Maybe social status, veteran status, financial status, hobbies and preferences, lifestyle, anything like that. Anything that is different from one person to another can be defining of those people's personalities. So let's bring that in the open. Tell me more about you. I'll tell you more about me, and we'll learn and we'll explore and we'll find synergies and we'll grow our relationship and our businesses. So this is what this program brings to the table, and it's good for businesses, it's good for nonprofits, and it's good for educational institutions.
That's incredible. When you work with businesses and nonprofits, what are the sizes of these groups that you're sharing this amazing information with?
I prefer when I do a live event to have at least 3 people, but the more the merrier, because you can put this program on a live stage, you can put it on a hybrid, online and live. You can put it online only. The sky's the limit, because really, right now I'm exploring also the possibility of putting these courses online, and how will they reach people on the other side of the world. So yeah, there is no geographical limitation on who can take this class. Now we're all virtual anyway, so let's do it.
That is very true. How would you help a business owner notice or become aware that they should take your program, Higher Dimensions, versus another program?
Well, first of all, when I designed this, business focus was the first, because again, coming from the corporate environment, I knew what was flying around and what wasn't. And the bare necessity of that is the lawsuits that businesses were facing because of gender
Great point.
discrimination, because of religious discrimination, because of anything and everything you can think of. Maybe lack of accommodations for Americans with disabilities. So I'm like, how do you circumvent this? So first of all, why would businesses need to take this training? To prevent lawsuits, to promote more diverse employees, because with diversity, the first thing that comes in mind, or the first couple of things, creativity and innovation. The fact that they come from a diverse background, they will bring that to the table, and you won't believe the amazing results that teams can achieve once they put all those things together in synergy. And last but not least, position their own business for success, because when you have all these factors in place, of course, you're going to see increased revenues, and not only with your employee base, with your team members, but remember, you cater to the audience. So the segment of your public and the market segment that you're going after is also diverse. So they're going to relate better to diverse employees who understand their diverse needs and cater to those diverse needs. So that was the main motivator for businesses to basically avoid headaches, unnecessary headaches. And it doesn't have to be so dramatic or so costly, quite frankly. It's just a matter of how the dynamic of a team can be improved. Because again, you build language skills. Okay, so you have people from all over the world. How do you overcome language barriers? How do you build cultural competence? How do you build, last but not least, leadership skills? Because if you're going to pick and choose people who are diverse and they have all these amazing talents that somebody else may overlook just because they're not so open to diversity, you are building your own self, into a greater leader, and your team will become more efficient and your organization will be more successful. So in a nutshell, it's not that you have to, if you don't do it, you're going to get sued tomorrow. God forbid, you don't want that. But this is something that you can build your team upon. Many businesses have all kinds of team building activities. So if anything, you can do a fun team building activities by learning about other people's cultures and customs. We do things this way, but hey, do you know that they do things that way over there? It's kind of funny. We could try just to see if it's efficient. Maybe we can copy some of the work ethics of the Japanese, for example, or we would like to keep the place cleaner like they do also in Japan. Is probably the cleanest country in the world. But any other things that you think would benefit your own organization, basically broaden your horizons, because you are exploring the world. And what business wants to stay local nowadays and not go global? So this is one way to gather that knowledge to cater to new markets that will be potentially acquired.
I love that. To cater to new markets that could be acquired and ultimately allows people to be more successful. Yeah.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you also notice when you bring this into schools? So, do you teach this to children? Do you teach this to teachers? All your insights, all your knowledge? Who do you share it with in schools?
Yes, you can share with all age groups, but keep in mind, if you are teaching to kids, it has to be tailored to their own understanding. So keep it fun, keep it in the story level. Just tell them, something, lead by example, something that they will assimilate. Whereas if you're teaching to the faculty members or the school principal, it's a different level because they will have a different perspective and different understanding of it. So, yeah, this is one of the things, one size that fits many. Maybe it won't fit all, but we are all diverse to some extent. So with that in mind, uh, again, learning knowledge is power. So let's learn more about diversity.
Very much so. Actually, I always enjoyed that where they say knowledge is power, but I come to understand that knowledge is potential power. Applied knowledge is
Yes.
power, and I think that's you share some amazing tools and resources during your trainings. So which ones are the most helpful to these businesses and to these schools that they're able to apply that really gives them that power?
First of all, the most useful, I would say, the concept itself of diversity once they are being taught what diversity is and what it isn't. So basically, not of the same kind. If it's diverse, is not of the same kind. It's not monochrome. It's not boring. It's not same thing every day. It's something exciting. It's something enlightening. You can build upon that knowledge. So when they are in learning mode, why not learn diversity from multiple perspectives? So I would say knowledge would be the first attribute and the first advantage, the first benefit, and then basically just build upon that, because with knowledge you will refine your own leadership skills, your own perspectives, and community outreach, quite frankly, because once you have this tool belt with all these new elements, new things, you will take that out in the community and apply it and expand your impact and your revenues. So it's not something you could keep, you should or will keep to yourself. This is a gift that keeps on giving once you understand. Because see, the divisive nature of society nowadays can take a toll on people, and it has been, and it's in a lot of cases is quite tragic. And you want to build that bridge of mutual understanding. You want to bring people together in harmony, not in divisiveness, not in anger, just because they don't understand who they are and where they come from. We all have common human values, and this is what this program brings together, so people can understand each other as humans.
That's a beautiful thing, so that they can understand each other as humans. When you're talking about the tools and the things that you cover, what topics specifically do you cover in your course? I know you mentioned race and age and gender, and then also religion. So, what else is incorporated in your course? What other topics?
So when you talk diversity, especially corporate training, they tend to stick to the primary dimensions, and that is gender, race, ability, and ability, disability. But it's not, I would say the definition of primary dimensions is a bit arbitrary, because they say that primary dimensions are those that are acquired at birth. Okay, so you talk gender. Yeah, it is acquired at birth, but it's transient. How many people nowadays undergo gender surgery? So if you want to keep that as a primary notion, gender for reference, that's fine, but it's not set in stone. So race, this is probably one that stays as it is, because you cannot change your race and your ethnicity and your cultural background. You may make adjustments. You may want to keep that under the radar, not stand out, blend in and not stand out. That's fine. But this is probably a true primary dimension that cannot be changed. So as far as age, this is also another primary, and this also is there to stay, because basically with biological age, this is not something you will change. Okay, you can look younger, you can be fit in your hundreds, that's fine, but the chronology is what it is. So this is gender, race, age, and then ability or disability. This is also classified as a primary, but again, to me, it's a transient notion, because people can be born with a disability and then overcome it. Some people with some forms of autism were able to heal it, or this is just an example, or any other condition that could potentially be healed. Or you can be perfectly fine and healthy and then end up on a battlefield and lose parts of the body, and that's how you become disabled. So this is not something you were born with, this is something that you acquired.
Mhm.
So these are the four primary dimensions that usually are the focus of traditional training. Beyond that, what is language, culture, religion, foods, preferences, lifestyle, hobbies, opinions, politics, anything else, this is secondary dimensions. And to me, and to a lot of people, are just as important as primary ones, because they define who they are and how they live their life and how they are perceived by others. So this is what I cover in this extensive program.
I love that. That's incredible. How long are your trainings? How long do you spend with people, especially even as you're projecting into making this a course? What do you anticipate? What else do you want
So
to do?
each topic could be covered, the basic highlights and benefits, in minimum an hour. I like to spend an hour and a half, because I would put 60 minutes to the material itself, and then I would like to do 30 minutes of Q&A, interactions, questions and answers, and people can share their own experiences and understanding of the topic. But I'd like to keep it simple and short. One thing I don't want to do, and I will never be that kind of a coach or consultant or trainer to talk people's ears off. I want to keep it concise, because I value my time and I value other people's time. Why spend many hours on end and weeks on end on something that could be condensed and just as efficient in an hour to 2 hours tops? So that's that's how I like to operate.
That is awesome. And to as you're thinking about the trainings that you're doing online or that you want to prepare, is there anything else that you want to add as like a bonus, or have you come up with additional ideas as you're doing these programs?
Yes, I've been asked to provide handouts, like a little document that summarizes the course, and I'm glad to do that, just to kind of, once you have an idea, jot it down, it brings back the content of the training. I was also asked to create a certificate of attendance for the people who participate in my courses, and I'm like, sure, by all means. You want to do it individually, spell out your full name, or if you want to do it as a team, team so and so completed training number or name so and so. Because one thing about this program, it's kind of like a pick and choose menu based on the team itself, the organization that takes the training. Say they have very few women in leadership. So with that, I go into a specific module, gender, you've got the power. As a matter of fact, I'm going to teach that one today to the International Association of Administrative Professionals. This is my second course with them. And that will be their primary focus because their audience is administrative professionals, which is majority women. So that's their focus. However, another organization may have some people of the LGBTQ community that they feel are not fully integrated nor not, their talents are not fully leveraged. So for that, we have gender. Are we so different? That's a different module. So all it takes is an exploratory conversation with the person in charge of the program, because I like to learn more about them and see what their area of focus is, and then I can make a suggestion on what training would be beneficial. You don't have to take basic ABC training for diversity that goes to kindergarten level. If you're in college, that's just not gonna, it doesn't go like that. So you take the training that is most beneficial for you based on the needs and focus of your audience group.
Very awesome. And how does the program extend their reach? Once they go through the program, that's great. But how do they take these tools and these ideas that you share with them? How do they bring them forward?
You apply that in your everyday life, starting with your own self and then your family, your immediate environment, your immediate community. You think locally and you can act globally. It's not that you keep the information to yourself. You're going to go and take it out to the world and share the awesomeness of it all and bring other people together, because this is about unifying the human species, not dividing it further than it is to bring people together. So this is the main takeaway. How do we become more connected, more involved in our communities, and more respectful of each other? How do we elevate humanity? This is the ultimate purpose.
Oh, I love that. How do we elevate humanity? That's a great one. Out of curiosity, the True Stories Merchant, how did you come up with your name of your business?
I loved storytelling since I was, very, very young, that even before I jumped on the diversity wagon when I was 11 and a half. So, which is really, really young if you think about it. When do you become so diverse? As soon as the country opened up and as soon as Eastern Europe opened up to the world, I became super diverse. But we were embracing of foreign things before. Because again, since we were so isolated in communism, whenever we would see a foreign person speaking a foreign language and a cool car, driving a cool car that we didn't have, that was instantly cool to us. You're a foreigner, wow, that must be something more and extraordinary about you. And then we had the chance to actually talk to them and then travel to foreign countries and everything. But storytelling has been part of my biological fabric since I was very, very young. So through stories is basically the life experience that I've gathered. I am a first generation immigrant to America, but I bring a lot of knowledge from the rest of the world because I easily relate to foreign cultures, languages, and customs, traditions, even religions. And I have stories from a lot of cultures and a lot of countries and a lot of nationalities, because I happen to know people of many nationalities. So I find inspiring motives and inspiring stories into their life experiences, the people that I met, and I bring that to the table. If it's something enlightening that I feel I could share and could benefit a larger audience, that's where I take the true story. I try to verify at least once the source of the story, but most of the time is personal experience. So I take it at face value because it means something to someone, but it can very well relate to someone else's experience who has been going through that same or is about to experience something similar. So I try to stick to real life experiences as much as possible.
I love that. Is there a story that stands out in your mind of where a business was before they worked with you to where you were able to bring them after you worked with them?
It's it's very rewarding to read their words after the training itself. I mean, I got their testimonials, and as far as numbers, I am currently adding up to the number of people that I have been impacting. So as far as the ultimate result, how they were before and where would they be after, I say it's quantifiable within that same environment. So it's nice to basically keep in touch with the business and see how they apply um, what they learned in this course, because it's an ongoing journey. Diversity is not something that you learn today and then you're gonna forget and set aside. It's something you will be applying every day, and check in every 30 days and see what the effect is. Check another 6 months later and see where they're at now, and check a year later and see where their revenue has gone, because they have applied some of these. And this can be different from business to business, because you can go from my and pa shop to a large corporation. So the results will be different for each.
That is incredible. I love that you follow up with them after and not just with the testimonial, but a week later and a month later and 6 months later and a year later. That must be very, very rewarding to see how they've progressed and also very profitable, I imagine.
Yes, you have to basically keep the lights on. So ultimately, it's going to impact your not just your bottom line, but also your overhead cost. Because again, revenue equals success. And if you can translate diversity into revenue, which this program can and will, it's going to be easier to basically measure it. You want measurable results.
Very true. Very true. Beautifully said. Measurable results. I thank goodness for that. And if people wanted to reach out to you, audience, potential clients, how can they reach out to you? What's the best way to contact you?
I would say through the website. I have my contact information there, but I invite you to explore the website, www.thetruestoriesmerchant.com. You can call me directly. The phone number is 323-364-3757. Or you can email me at lisa.kirkwood7@gmail.com. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the listeners?
Yes, keep being awesome and embrace
Mhm.
diversity, because what you think is only personal, and you may be brushing aside as unimportant, to someone else may be a life-changing experience. Just bring that into the open, because people are willing to explore and learn from each other. And if your experience will save someone else the grief, the time, and even the money that otherwise you spend yourself, and you can improve someone else's experience in one aspect, by all means do that.
I love that. That was beautifully shared. Thank you so much for being with us today, Lisa. I gained so much, and I have no doubt that our listeners also gained so much. So, and thank you very, very much for your very valuable time. And thank you to our listeners. And until next time, we hope everybody stays well. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.